4 absolutely insane plugins I use every day at the studio. Now, these bad boys are slept on. I wish I had them when I started back in 2011, but better late than never. So, buckle up. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video, because if we can get to 1,000 likes, I'm going to reach out to the companies and see if we can tee up some discounts. So, let's get into it. There's one feature in Basslane Pro I can't get enough of, and it is this stereo harmonics module. I've spoken about it before, but I'm going to show you exactly how I dial it in and also do null tests with it to show you that this is a game changer when it comes to low end and stereo information. All right, let me show you this. So I've got this mix here of Going Home by Morning Maxwell. And what we're going to do is we're going to monitor the side signal. All right, we're going to monitor the side signal. So I've got the master bus set to side. Okay, so what we've got there is actually quite a bit of low end in the stereo signal already. But all that low end information in the stereo signal is drones. It's constant noise. What if we can make something dynamic appear in there? Let's say the kick drum from the center of the image adds stereo information to the side. And you're probably thinking I'm bloody crazy wild, but there's no plugin that really does this like the way this does. Because what it does is it creates harmonic stereo information unique to the side signal, and the mono signal stays exactly identically the same. The phase coherency is identical when you sum to mono, and I'll do a null test against the original mix and you'll actually hear this. So what we're going to do is we're going to monitor the delta side signal, okay? We're going to take the mid information here and we're going to go crunchy because I just like lots of harmonics, and we're going to start the dampen pretty low. Let's say about 100 Hertz. Let's just take a listen to this. And you just hear the delta signal. It will be crunchy and crumbly. Cool. But that's good. That doesn't have enough sort of low mid information for it to cut through. So we'll just bring this dampen up to, let's say, 300, which is where it's originally at. But I just like to start a bit lower so I get an idea of what's sort of feeding this harmonic section. All right, cool. That's the delta signal. That's not what's actually going to sound like. This is the new side signal. Okay, cool. And before and after. Okay, now that's just the side signal we've been monitoring. Now what we'll do is we'll A/B it to the original with the full stereo signal playing. And you'll have it here how the kick drum just punches round the sides, and then you're going to be stressed because you're like, shit, you're stuffing with the stereo information. It's all going to fall apart. But no, it won't. Trust me. It's just slapping that kick around the ears. But let's take a listen to this. What we're going to do is we're going to monitor the signal here. So that Basslane processed one is now mono. And we'll mono the original one as well. Let's mono that. That's mono. Now what we'll do is we'll flip the phase of the other one. All right, now you'd expect, because we've done this weird processing on the stereo signal, the mono signal is going to be completely different. They're not. They're identical. Take a listen to this. See that? They're both playing, and the mono signal's completely null, okay, which is insane. So you can make the low end wider, you can add some pizzazz to it, but the mono compatibility stays identical. This is slept on. This feature, every YouTuber should be like, this is wild, go check it out. I know people have reviewed the plugin, and when it dropped, a lot of people were reviewing it, but it is so slept on. This stereo harmonic section is golden, absolutely golden. And if you want to learn more about the plugin, I have an exclusive interview with Ian Stewart, who worked with Tone Projects on this plugin. It's a great interview, and at one point we go way back into the pre-beta stages of how he piece this plugin concept together using an Ableton rack. So it's a really cool interview. You should definitely go check it out. I slept on this next plugin for months after I got it, but now it's saving muffled kicks in mastering. You know, the kicks where, especially like this one, this kick that we're working on, it's slightly warm. It doesn't have a lot of snap to it, but there are two settings I use in the Diamond Saturator, and it absolutely brings that slap, that attack to an EDM kick. And I'll show you exactly what settings I've got to dial it in. Two settings I use is a derivative of the 808 setting Luca Predalesi told me in his interview with him. And basically this just adds that little bit of snap and expansion to the top end of the kick. And then this one, which is actually the preset master bus in the plugin, they both work really well. When you have a kick that's just a little bit like covered up in a mix, these work well. So what we'll do is we'll play the original, we'll loop it, we'll play the master bus, we'll loop it, we'll play the 808 punch, and you'll just hear that kick open up every time.
Are you going home? Are you going home? I don't want to be all on my own. Are you going home? Are you going home? I don't want to be all on my own. Are you going home? Are you going home? I don't want to be all on my own.
Now, I like this. Yeah, the snare comes out a little bit more as well, so you've got to be careful on what material you use it on. But I have not just been using this in mastering, even in mixing. I've been mixing a lot of hip-hop records, throwing this on the 808 in parallel and cranking the hell out of it. This expansion module paired with 2 stages of like harmonic saturation gives you an endless world of possibilities. I know there are other plugins that use similar 2-stage saturations, but the ability to filter the input, to go between, you know, full expansion or not, and how hard you drive it and add in the low shelf, this plugin is slept on. It came out, a lot of people spoke about it, but then it just sort of went to the wayside. And if you're doing EDM music, get this plugin. Just get it. Compressors are the most iterated plugins on the market, and most of them have barely noticeable differences. However, in Ozone 10, the impact module is game-changing. It uses a calculation of LDR to manipulate microdynamics. It uses the difference between short-term and long-term envelopes of a waveform, so you can actually manipulate the waveform. It's pretty wild how it works, and I'll actually show you, but ultimately this is just a threshold free, so there's no threshold on this dynamics manipulator. And I'm going to show you how I can make the sub in this kick just poke. It's just going to go whoop. So what we've got here is we've got this sub here, and it's good. Like it's a pretty warm mix. It's pretty controlled, you know that. But if you want to make things go wild, let's do that.
Are you going home? Are you going home? I don't be all on my own. Are you going home? Are you going home? I don't want to be all on my own.
Do you hear that sub? Hear the sub. Hear the sub. OG to impact. I've went over the top with that, but you get the idea. You can just pick a frequency band and you're like, I want more punch, I want less punch. And it's not using compression or expansion in a normal sense. It just traces the waveform between the long-term and the short-term peaks, and then via calculation readjusts it so it can actually make those gain adjustments in real time. Again, that is really slept on. Very much advised to look into the Ozone suite, even if it's just for that plugin. There's only one multiband compressor I can recommend. In fact, I don't know why other plugin companies fuck with making multiband compressors, because Leapwing have it down pat. Their Dyne 1, it's phase coherent, no pre-ringing multiband compression, and here's the trick to how I'm using it, and you've probably seen me use this before, parallel upward compression, but for the sake of this video, I hope it reaches a new audience, because this is a really slept on plugin, at least in the mastering domain. People who are like sort of behind the scenes, mastering engineers, they know it, they've used it, and they know it's good. But I'm going to show you, if you're new to it, how I actually dial in the parallel compression on this, and it sounds wild. So to dial this in, the aim is that we're going to blend up these signals in parallel, which means they all need a lot of compression, about 12 decibels each. So it starts linked, and then I unlink it. I'm using the tonalization strong preset by Bob Katz. And let's just loop this loud section and bring the threshold so they're all evenly compressing. Like that. We'll relink them and then we'll slowly blend this back into the mix. And you hear that low level information come up and just get overall thicker. Just sounds heavier. Take a listen to that again. It's pumping a bit in the background, so I probably wouldn't use it that aggressively. It's a -24, and then bring this up slightly. If you want to know more, here are 2 exclusive interviews where I'm diving deep with the amazing individuals who are behind these plugins. They're actually really good interviews. I'm so happy I was able to do them. You won't find any sort of interviews like that on YouTube, so go check them out. And until next time, take care.